She'll crash and burn tomorrow, and Skypulse will finally be ours. The text blinked on Ethan's phone as Terra Langston froze. Her thumb hovered over the screen. He'd left it charging on their glass coffee table, just yards from her laptop. Through the wall-high windows, the Denver skyline glowed in dawn's pale light, a world of promise she felt slipping away. Terra, 35 and co-founder of Skypulse Tech, had an investor pitch in 20 minutes. They'd spent 3 years building predictive analytics for emergency response teams, and today's meeting could secure the funding to take them national. Instead, she faced proof that her husband planned to sabotage her. Her chest tightened. She sank onto the sleek sofa, the message still glowing. She'll crash and burn tomorrow. The sender was Laura, Ethan's colleague and, apparently, his confidant in this betrayal. Terra's coffee steamer hissed behind her, an innocent hum that mocked her panic. Ethan was inside the bedroom, arranging his tie for the meeting. She pictured his neatly pressed shirt and perfect hair, the image she once found comforting. Now it nauseated her. She remembered late nights in the same room, side by side on the bed, dreaming of leaving corporate life to build something of their own. Skypulse had been their shared vision. At least she had believed it was. Terra exhaled, her breath coming in shallow bursts. She tried to steady herself by recalling last night's rehearsal. Her presentation was airtight, every data point, every chart meticulously checked. She'd even built in real-time dashboard demos to wow the investors. But if Ethan tampered with the underlying spreadsheet, today all that work would collapse into a fiasco. She massaged her temples and forced her eyes toward the phone. On the lock screen, another message. I patched the data at 2 a.m. She'll never see it coming. Terra's pulse hammered. She closed the phone and stood, pacing the hardwood floor. The apartment's modern furnishings, white leather chairs, a glass dining table, felt suddenly sterile and hollow. In the kitchen, she poured herself a small tumbler of water. The condensation dripped onto the counter, pooling like tears. You can't break what you built, she whispered. She filled a travel mug with fresh coffee and tucked it into her tote, along with her neatly bound presentation notes. Outside, the city teemed with life. Early commuters, mountain commuters, a morning mirror of impatience and potential. Terra checked the clock on her laptop. 7:15 a.m., 25 minutes before impact. She had time to confront Ethan without risking a full meltdown. Instead, she opened Skypulse's secure cloud drive and located her original deck, saved in a private folder. With a few clicks, she downloaded a fresh copy onto her tablet. She'd use that at the meeting and leave Ethan's corrupted slideshow behind. Her fingers trembled as she closed the lid. She thought of their 7-year marriage, how they met at a hackathon, his charm drawing her in, her data wizardry impressing him. They'd fallen in love over code reviews and pizza runs. Early on, they were inseparable, he the natural salesman, she the analytical wizard. But as Skypulse grew, their roles hardened. He built relationships. She built products. Somewhere along the way, that balance tipped. Terra tried to recall when she first felt the shift. Maybe it was 3 months ago, when Ethan started returning home late with vague excuses. Or when he began praising Lara's insights in board meetings, insights Terra knew belonged to her. The doubts grew, nibbling at her trust like a silent fracture. She'd chalked it up to stress. Now she knew the truth. He'd engineered her downfall. She straightened her blouse in the hallway mirror, her reflection framed by glass walls that offered a panoramic view of the Rockies. The mountains stood solid and unyielding, a reminder that strength came from depth, not surface. Terra squared her shoulders. She would not let Ethan's deception define her. At 7:30 a.m., Terra exited the apartment building, nodding curtly to the doorman. The elevator descended swiftly to the lobby, where she hailed a ride to Skypulse's office, a converted warehouse with industrial beams and white boards lining every wall. In the passenger seat of her car, She reviewed the original deck on her tablet, her coffee sloshing gently in its insulated cup. She arrived at the office at 7:45. Marcel, their lead engineer, greeted her with a grin and a stack of marker pens. "Ready to rock?" he asked, nodding toward the conference room. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city's pulse raced upward. Inside, Terra felt time blur past. She led Marcel and Nina, their marketing director, past rows of standing desks to the sleek glass conference room. The long oak table glowed under recessed lights. Nameplates and water pitchers sat waiting. Investors began filing in at 7:55, trading handshakes and business cards. Terra caught Ethan's eye as he closed the door, holding a paper coffee cup. He gave her a practiced smile. She nodded curtly, her determined expression barely flickering. At precisely 8 o'clock, Terra tapped her tablet and called the room to order. "Good morning. I'm Terra Langston, co-founder of Skypulse Tech." She launched the first slide, a crisp logo over a backdrop of swirling data points. Marcel dimmed the lights, and the presentation illuminated the room. As Terra progressed through market analysis and team achievements, she felt her calm return. This was her domain: numbers, algorithms, forecasts. She guided investors through retention metrics, cost-benefit analyses, and their new AI edge that could save lives. The audience leaned forward, scribbling notes. At 8:15, she introduced the financial model. A click revealed Ethan's Tampered slide. Revenue projections spiked absurdly, then plummeted mid-quarter. Investors' faces froze. Terra's stomach dropped. The temperature in the room plummeted. Ms. Hawkins, their main backer, frowned. "These projections, can you explain the sudden drop in Q2? Ethan stood quickly, stammering about a late-stage pivot. His voice shook. Terra recognized the pattern. Sabotage at work. She took a breath and calmly said, "I'd like to share an updated view." Reaching into her tote, she produced the tablet with her clean deck. With a fluid motion, she plugged it in. The screen flickered and switched to her original slide, steady growth curves, consistent with her spoken metrics. Libra Investments partner nodded. "This aligns with our previous discussions." Relief and curiosity rippled through the room. Terra steadied herself as the investors murmured among themselves, paper cups clutched in their hands, the late morning sun filtering through Skypulse's floor-to-ceiling glass walls. She tapped her tablet, and the original slide flickered into view. A crisp chart of projected user growth, backed by validated logs and real-time dashboard simulations. She inhaled deeply and pressed on. "These are the corrected figures," she said, voice firm. "You'll notice a consistent upward trajectory, exactly what we discussed last week." A ripple of nods spread through the room. Ms. Hawkins, the lead investor dressed in charcoal suit and silk scarf, leaned forward with renewed interest. "Much clearer," she said. "This aligns with our initial due diligence." Eyes that moments before had narrowed in confusion now warmed with curiosity. Terra slid into her rhythm, confident and assured. With each sentence, she reclaimed the narrative Ethan had tried to hijack. Behind her, Ethan's face tightened. He drew in a shaky breath, his palms pressing unnaturally against the table's smooth oak surface. He opened his mouth, probably to explain some phantom pivot, but Terra cut him off. "Of course," she continued, "we've adjusted our algorithm to incorporate additional public safety data. That's what gives us our competitive edge." She let her words hang in the air. "He thought he could erase me," she thought, "but I'm the foundation of this dream." Investors scribbled notes furiously. Marcel, Skypulse's lead engineer, met Terra's gaze from the back of the room and offered a quick thumbs up. Terra returned his gesture with a subtle nod. Inside, her heart thundered with half-concealed triumph. She had navigated the sabotage, and now, with unflappable poise, she was delivering the most compelling pitch of her career. Ethan's attempt at damage control faltered. He cleared his throat and stammered, I'm sorry, everyone. That slide was an early draft. Please disregard any anomalies. His voice cracked. Terra tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and smiled politely at the investors. Their skepticism had already shifted from her data to Ethan's credibility. As Ethan fumbled with his tablet, the investors exchanged glances. Miss Hawkins frowned. "Mr. Langston," she said, "we value transparency. Can you elaborate on why an earlier draft would be presented so prominently?" Her tone was polite but pointed, and the room fell silent. Ethan swallowed, his hand trembling. "There was a version control error," he mumbled. "I'll ensure it won't happen again." He glanced at Terra as if seeking rescue, but she held her ground. Terra felt a surge of protective resolve for her company. Every investor's raised eyebrow was another vote in favor of her authenticity over Ethan's half-truths. She leaned forward, her posture calm. "Version control errors can be mitigated with robust checks," she said gently. "At Skyples, we've since implemented additional automated reviews to catch such discrepancies. Moving forward, our system ensures data integrity at every stage." Her assurance was precise and reassuring. The investors nodded, impressed by her proactive solution. The room's atmosphere brightened. Terra's relief mixed with a growing suspicion. If Ethan could tamper with a file so easily, what else had he manipulated behind the scenes? A flicker of disappointment surfaced. How many hidden betrayals lay within their partnership? Yet she couldn't dwell on that now. Focus, she reminded herself. Protect the company, and herself. The presentation shifted to their final slide, a 3-year revenue forecast paired with a live demonstration of Skyples cloud analytics. Terra clicked a button on her tablet, and the dashboard sprang to life on the large screen. Investors murmured appreciatively at the sleek interface, maps plotting incident response times in real time, predictive alerts in vibrant color zones, charts adjusting instantly as data streamed in. It was everything she had ever envisioned, and it was real. Ethan watched helplessly from the side, his face a mask of frustration. The sabotage had failed, and now the meeting's momentum was fully in Terra's favor. She wrapped up with an invitation. "We're seeking a $5 million investment to expand into 3 new markets. With your partnership, Skyples will redefine emergency response worldwide." The final click closed the deck. Silence reigned. Then applause broke out. Soft at first, then steadily growing as investors rose to their feet. Ms. Hawkins approached first, offering Terra a congratulatory handshake. "That was outstanding," she said. "Your clarity and command of the data are exactly why we believe in Skyples." Others followed, and in moments, Terra found herself surrounded by applause and praise. Her eyes glistened. Triumph tasted sweet, yet she knew the real battle had only begun. After sending the investors off with warm smiles and promises of follow-up meetings, Terra exhaled, leaning against the smooth glass wall. The Denver skyline shimmered behind her, reflecting her own exhilaration and wariness. She scanned the empty room, noting Ethan lingering near the exit, staring at the floor. He looked small, diminished by his failure. A flush of pity and anger mingled within her. She collected her tablet, heart still racing, and stepped out into the hallway. The air conditioning hummed quietly, a contrast to her rapid pulse. She walked toward the break room to gather her thoughts, but halfway there, she froze. Ahead, in the adjacent conference area, she spotted Ethan pacing near a private phone booth. His jaw was clenched. He held his phone to his ear, voice low. Terrified of what she might hear, Terra edged closer, close enough to catch snippets. Ethan's tone was urgent, conspiratorial. "Confirm the details," he whispered. "We need to undermine her credibility before the next round. If she thinks she's home free, she won't see us coming." Terra's breath caught. Before she could react, Ethan ended the call and dropped his phone into his pocket. Terra's gut tightened at his words. He wasn't finished. This was part one of a larger plan. He planned another blow, another sabotage, now that she'd proven she could recover. The betrayal cut deep. She pressed her hand to her chest, steadying her pulse. Trust was gone. Her husband was now her most dangerous adversary. She pivoted and slipped into the break room, closing the door softly behind her. The bright overhead light revealed a small refrigerator, a nest of half-empty coffee mugs, and a bulletin board of office trivia. She pressed her back against the wall, mind racing. She needed proof, and fast. She would gather the corrupted files, capture Ethan's messages, and present everything to the board. She would not let him destroy her dream. As Terra inhaled, a new wave of resolve washed over her. The sanctuary of Skypulse had become a battlefield, and she would fight not only for her company's future, but for her own dignity. Her jaw set in determination. She would not be a victim of his treachery. A knock on the break room door startled her. Terra peered through the small window pane to see Marcel, his expression sympathetic. "Everything okay in there?" he asked softly. She offered him a tight smile. "I just need a moment," she replied, steeling herself for the next move. Marcel nodded and stepped back. Terra watched him go, then turned her gaze to her phone on the table. It buzzed gently. A message from Lara, sealed from Lara with no preview. The name sent a shiver through her. How deeply had Ethan involved Lara in his scheme? She knew it was time to uncover every thread. She pulled the phone toward her and tapped the message. It read simply, "Make sure she trusts you, then watch her crumble." Her blood ran cold. This was no impulsive act, it was a conspiracy. A cold fury took root inside her. No more playing second fiddle. No more naivete. Terra stood, gathering her courage like armor. She retrieved her tablet and slipped out of the break room unnoticed. Back at her desk, she opened their shared drive and located the corrupted master file saved under Ethan's credentials. She downloaded it and sent it to her personal email. She then accessed Lara's company chat logs, where messages lingered, and copied the damning exchange. With evidence in hand, Terra drafted a secure email to the board members, outlining her husband's betrayal and attaching all records. But she paused before hitting send. She needed to plan her next move carefully, swiftly, but with precision. As she looked up, the Denver skyline's evening lights began to twinkle, a promise of tomorrow's fight. She closed her eyes and whispered, "I built this dream from nothing, and he'll regret trying to break it." Ahead lay decisions that would shape the fate of Skypulse and her own future. Terra exhaled, braced for the storm she had unleashed. Terra slipped quietly into Skypulse's break room just as the evening lights cast a soft glow on the industrial chic space. Potted succulents lined floating shelves, and a whiteboard, covered in colorful marker diagrams, towered behind the coffee station. Marcel Fletcher stirred a mug of dark roast, while Nina Jo tapped at her phone, her brows knotted in concentration. Terra closed the stainless steel door behind her, cutting off the hum of co-workers and the distant clatter of keyboards. She took a steadying breath. "I need both of you," she said, her voice low but unyielding, for a matter of trust and survival. Marcel set down his mug and drew closer. "What's happening?" he asked, his voice edged with concern. Terra opened her laptop and hooked it up to the small breakout room screen. She pulled up a folder labeled Urgent Evidence. On the screen, snippets of internal chat logs glowed in white text against a charcoal background. Ethan's user handle issuing commands to corrupt core spreadsheets, Lara's messages cheering him on, and timestamps showing the sabotage moments before the investor pitch. "He tried to destroy my live data," Terra said, jaw clenched. "I saved the original deck, but I need proof to protect this company and our integrity." Nina's eyes widened. "Are you serious?" she whispered. Terra nodded, her gaze hard. "He tampered with our growth projections on purpose. Worse, he's planning more." She clicked through encrypted messages revealing Ethan's instructions to a senior investor liaison. "Push for new reviews. Question Terra's competence. We need to discredit her in the board's eyes." The betrayal burned through Terra like acid. She swallowed back a surge of grief and fury. "I never would have imagined," she murmured, "but it's all here." Marcel rubbed his temples. "We can't let him take the company, or your reputation, down that path. If the board hears this without the right context, they might side with him." He looked at Terra. "What do you want to do?" She met his gaze, her determination solidifying. "We go to the board," she said. "Tonight. We present the evidence. No lawyers yet." Nina nodded. "I'll compile the logs into a timeline. Marcel, can you gather the file version histories? We need to show methodical corruption." Marcel tapped on his tablet. "On it. I'll pull every revision, every commit log from our Git server. If he changed numbers, it'll be recorded." Nina opened a blank document on her laptop, fingers flying as she began drafting a concise summary of findings and proposed countermeasures. Terra watched them work, feeling a swell of hope. For the first time in hours, she wasn't alone. Her trusted team, the very people who believed in her vision, was standing by her side. Yet, beneath that hope, a flash of disappointment flickered. Ethan was not simply a rival but her husband, the man who'd shared her dreams. The realization stung. She had to outmaneuver her own spouse to save the company she co-founded. That personal betrayal cut deeper than any corporate backstabbing. She pressed her palm to the whiteboard's cool surface, where half-erased scribbles of marketing slogans and beta test notes lingered like ghosts of more innocent days. "I'll fight for this dream with every breath I have," she whispered to herself, a vow to see this through. Marcel looked up from the server logs. "I've got every change he made." He slid his tablet over, displaying side-by-side comparisons of authentic and corrupted datasets, color-coded for clarity. Nina adjusted the summary, adding investor testimony and a screenshot of the sabotaged slide. Terra reviewed the dossier, a concise, damning portrait of Ethan's deception. They saved it to a secure folder accessible only to the board and themselves. With most of the evidence assembled, Terra stood and paced the break room. The Denver skyline darkened outside the glass walls, skyscraper lights twinkling like distant stars. She felt resolve hardening in her chest. "We move fast," she said. "Tomorrow's board meeting, no delays. We deliver this dossier, outline his actions, and propose immediate safeguards. We keep Skypel's future in the right hands." Marcel and Nina exchanged determined glances. "Agreed," Nina said. "We're with you." A pause settled over them, heavy with anticipation. The team's trust gave Terra a renewed sense of purpose. She glanced at her watch. 7:45 p.m. Office lights had dimmed in corridors. Only here, in the break room, did their planning come alive. Terra felt a moment of gratitude for the loyal people who stood by her when her own partner had turned traitor. But she knew the silence wouldn't last. Just then, Terra's phone buzzed with an incoming calendar alert. "Board meeting, 9 a.m. Conference Room A." She swiped to acknowledge, her finger passing over the reminder that would shape tomorrow's fate. The gravity pressed in on her, but she breathed deeply, centering herself. She closed her laptop and addressed Marcel and Nina. "Get home safely. Rest up. We reconvene here at 8 tomorrow to finalize our presentation. See you then." They nodded, gathering their things. As Marcel headed out, he placed a reassuring hand on Terra's shoulder. "We've got your back." Nina offered a quick hug before disappearing through the open door. Terra remained alone in the break room, the whiteboard's faint echoes illuminating her reflection on the glass walls. Her emotions bobbed between hope, her team's loyalty, and dread, what Ethan might attempt next. She reached for her coffee mug on the counter. It was empty now, a silent witness to the morning's sabotage. She set it down carefully, determined to never underestimate the depths of deceit again. She stepped out of the break room and made her way down a quiet corridor, lit by a few motion sensor lights. A sense of foreboding settled over her. She had prepared her case, But tomorrow's boardroom could become a courtroom if Ethan's fabrications seeped in. She needed absolute clarity. As she rounded a corner toward her office, she heard footsteps behind her. Startled, she slowed. The footsteps quickened, matching her pace. Before she could pivot, a strong hand caught her elbow. Terra froze. She turned to find Ethan's shadowed figure blocking the hallway. His eyes were lit with a fierce intensity, equal parts desperation and fury. "Terra," he whispered, voice tight. "We need to talk. Now." His grip on her arm was firm, almost painful. Terra met his gaze, her heart pounding like a war drum. She forced calm into her reply. "Not now, Ethan. I have work to do." His jaw clenched. "You can't go to the board with this. You'll ruin us, ruin everything we built. Drop it." His words were a challenge, a dare. Terra felt her blood run cold. There in the narrow corridor, between two opposing truths, she realized the final confrontation was at hand. She inhaled deeply, her resolve crystallizing. "No," she said, quiet but unyielding. "I won't back down." Ethan's eyes flashed with anger. "Think carefully. You're choosing a war you can't win." As the corridor lights flickered overhead, Terra stood her ground, bracing for what came next. Terra pressed her back against the cool concrete wall of Skyple's Tech's late-night corridor, the muted hum of HVAC vents overhead mingling with her racing heartbeat. Ethan loomed before her, eyes narrowed and jaw clenched. His tall frame was silhouetted against the faint glow of Denver's skyline through the glass windows at the hallway's end. He extended a trembling hand, voice low and desperate. "Terra, drop this dossier. We can fix it, fix us before tomorrow." Her gaze sharpened. "Fix us?" she repeated, every syllable measured. "You think you can poison our future and then sweep it all under the rug?" The corridor lights flickered, casting long shadows that danced around them. Behind Ethan, the city's twinkling towers seemed to watch, silent witnesses to her personal crisis. Ethan opened his mouth, but before he could speak, two figures charged down the hallway. Marcel burst through the door leading to the break room, rolling his sleeves up to his elbows. Nina followed, tablet in hand and determination in her eyes. Terra felt a surge of relief. She wasn't alone. "Ethan," Marcel barked, voice echoing against the concrete. "Step away from her." He squared his shoulders, arms folded in protest. Nina stood beside Terra, thumb scrolling across her tablet. "We have the files," she said quietly, offering Terra a glance of solidarity. "We're ready for the board. One word from him, and we leak the dossier." Ethan's expression flickered between fury and defeat. He looked at Terra, then at her allies and back again. "You don't understand what's at stake," he said. His voice cracked with frustration. "If I didn't do this, we'd lose the funding. If I can't control the narrative, we'll fail." Terra met his eyes, steel in her gaze. "Skyples will never fail because of my leadership. This company is my soul, and I'll guard it with everything I am." Her words rang like a promise in the empty corridor. Ethan took a hesitant step back, his shoulders sagging. Marcel filmed the confrontation discreetly with his phone. "This is your chance to walk away, Ethan," he said, "before we send the evidence to the board." Nina's tablet screen displayed side-by-side logs of corrupted data and timestamps indicating Ethan's midnight tampering. The evidence glowed with cold clarity. Ethan hesitated, face pale beneath the flickering lights. He glanced at the exit, at the empty lobby beyond. For a flicker of a second, Terra saw fear there. Fear of exposure, of loss, of humiliation. Then the moment passed, replaced by resignation. Without another word, he turned and fled down the hallway. Terra exhaled, tension washing out of her like a released breath. Marcel closed the door softly behind them. Nina slid the dossier into a secure Skyples envelope marked "Board only, 9 a.m. tomorrow." The weight of what lay ahead settled on Terra's shoulders. They had to move swiftly. They gathered in Terra's office, a glass-walled sanctuary overlooking the darkening Denver skyline. The room was quiet except for the tapping of keys and the soft whir of her desktop computer. Terra set the envelope on the corner of her desk, then pulled up the secure email draft she had prepared. It addressed the board and summarized Ethan's actions, attaching the dossier. She scrolled through the text one last time. Factual, concise, unflinching. "Send it now," Marcel asked. Terra hesitated. "Let's hold for 30 minutes, she decided, mind racing. "I want to confront him if he shows up in the server room again. This company is bigger than both of us. I need to face him one last time before the board sees this." Nina nodded. "Understood. We'll double-check the attachments and stand by." She glanced at the clock on the wall. 10:15 p.m. Almost midnight, but the stakes were too high to wait until morning. Terra sank into her leather chair and closed her eyes for a moment. Hope swelled in her chest. Her team had her back. She had the proof, and the board would know the truth. Yet disappointment lurked beneath. The man she had loved and trusted was capable of destroying everything they built together. She fought back tears, channeling that emotion into resolve. Suddenly, her laptop pinged with an alert from the security system. Unauthorized access detected in the server room. Terra's eyes snapped open. She stood, voice tense. "They're in the server room." Marcel jumped up. "That's where the master logs are." "If he's deleting evidence," he trailed off, horror in his eyes. Nina bolted for the door. "I'm on it." Marcel followed, and Terra hurried after them, sneakers soft on the polished concrete floor. They reached the server room door, a reinforced glass panel with a numerical keypad. Marlene, the night manager, hovered outside, startled to see them. Marcel flashed his badge. "Emergency access. We need entry now." Marlene punched in the override code. With a hiss, the door unlocked. Inside, the server racks glowed with blinking LEDs. Fans whirred, pumping cool air to preserve the hardware. The center aisle was empty, until Terra spotted Ethan crouched in front of a rack, fingers flying over the console keyboard. He wore the same crisp shirt he'd had on this morning, now rumpled and soaked with sweat. Ethan's back was to them, but the overhead lights cast his reflection in the adjacent glass wall. Terra felt her blood run cold. He was executing a command, a series of deletes and overwrites that left no trace. In a low voice he hissed, "If she can fight me with logs, I'll erase the logs." Nina whispered urgently, "He's tearing down our evidence." Marcel pulled out his phone. "I'm recording this." He hit record and focused on Ethan's mirrored reflection, capturing the sabotage in all its betrayal. Terra stepped into the room, heart hammering. "Stop," she said, voice echoing in the enclosed space. Ethan froze, the cursor blinking ominously on the screen. He turned, eyes wild and desperate. "Terra, don't do this. You'll ruin us both." She advanced steadily. "I'm saving this company from you." Her words cut through the hum of fans. Ethan's shoulders slumped, and he dropped his hands from the keyboard. Marcel and Nina rushed forward, ready to secure the server console. Marcel slapped a hand over the keyboard. "It's over, Ethan." Nina held up her tablet, streaming the footage live to Terra's email, already routed to the board members. Ethan's eyes flicked from screen to screen. His voice barely rose above a whisper. "You don't understand. If I lose Skypulse, I lose everything." Terra approached him, placing a gentle hand on his arm, a gesture not of forgiveness, but of boundary. "You lost our trust, Ethan," she said softly. "And if you betray Skypulse again, this company and our marriage is finished." Ethan's gaze hardened. For a moment, he looked as if he might strike her. Then he turned away, backing toward the server racks. With a final furious glance, he backed out of the room and slammed the door behind him. Terra heard the lock click into place. The fans continued to whir, drowning out the tension. Marcel released the keyboard and exhaled. Nina closed her tablet with a sigh. Terra stared at the glass door, heart pounding in the hush. Above them, the Denver skyline stretched wide and bright, a contrast to the turmoil inside. She felt a cautious spark of hope. The sabotage was halted, and the board would see the truth. Yet disappointment lingered. Ethan's duplicity ran deeper than she had feared. The corridor lights remained dim, as if bracing for the fallout of tomorrow's confrontation. Terra retrieved her phone and tapped send. The secure email flew off to every board director, dossier attached. A soft chime confirmed delivery. She closed her eyes, whispering to the city lights. No more lies. No more sabotage. This is my dream, and I'll protect it with everything I have. Behind her, Marcel and Nina exchanged steady nods. The three stood in silent solidarity as midnight edged closer. Just then, the server room door blinked unlocked. Terra turned, breath catching in her throat as she realized Ethan had returned, perhaps to erase even more evidence. The door swung open, and his silhouette appeared in the threshold, face set in determined defiance. Terra's pulse thundered. The final battle was at hand. Terra's heart pounded as she and Marcel rushed into the server room behind Ethan. The door hissed shut, sealing them in a narrow space lined with racks of blinking LEDs and humming fans. Every server light cast a cold glow on Ethan's tense silhouette. He spun at their footsteps, eyes wild. "Stop," Terra commanded, stepping forward. Nina joined them, tablet in hand. The three formed a barrier between Ethan and the central console. Marcel's fingers flew over his phone as he recorded live footage of Ethan's half-finished delete commands. Terra's voice was steady, unwavering. "This ends now." Ethan trembled, shoulders sagging. "You'll ruin us," he whispered. "Without proper edits, the investors will pull out." He jabbed a gloved finger at the console. "They'll think you can't manage." Terra met his gaze. "Skypulse is more than corrupted files. Our mission is greater than your fear." She paced closer to the console, eyeing the logs Marcel had captured on screen. "You tried to erase the truth, but it stands right here." She pointed to the listing of tamper revisions and Lara's supportive messages. Ethan's face paled. Marcel reached the console and dumped the unaltered backup data back onto the primary drive. Nina secured the encrypted dossier on the office network, its files flagged, restricted, board review. The server room lights reflected off the racks like silent witnesses to Ethan's betrayal. Ethan's shoulders slumped. He leaned against the console, defeated. "What do you want from me?" he asked, voice hollow. Terra drew a slow, deliberate breath. "I want what we both said we wanted 7 years ago. A company built on integrity, innovation, and trust. And I'm not letting you destroy that." She straightened. "You're done here, Ethan. Tomorrow, the board will see everything." He stared at her in stunned silence as she signaled Marcel and Nina. Together they escorted Ethan down the corridor. The hum of the servers faded behind the reinforced door. Terra felt a wave of exhaustion hit her, but beneath it, a fierce pride. She had protected her dream. The next morning, Terra entered the boardroom for the 9 a.m. meeting, dossier in hand. The long table was polished oak, surrounded by high-backed leather chairs occupied by Skypulse directors and key investors. Large windows behind the chairperson framed Denver sunrise, the first rays of light promising a new chapter. Marcel sat to Terra's right, Nina to her left. Ethan remained absent. Chairwoman Patel called the meeting to order. "Miss Langston," she said, nodding toward Terra. "You requested this session." Terra stood, smoothing her tailored blazer and meeting the board's attentive gazes. She opened the dossier. "Thank you for convening on short notice. I have new information regarding internal data breaches and attempts to undermine this company's integrity." Murmurs rippled through the room. Terra clicked a slide, A timeline of corrupted spreadsheets aligned with timestamps of investor communications. She spoke clearly, her voice resonant in the silent room. Last night, evidence emerged that my co-founder, my husband, initiated deliberate sabotage of our core data. He then attempted to delete logs to conceal his actions. Here are the messages, the version histories, the recorded footage. She advanced a slide showing Lara's encouragement. She'll never see it coming. The board members leaned forward, eyebrows raised in shock. Terra paused, letting the weight of her revelations sink in. I did not take these steps lightly. I stand before you not only as Skyple's co-founder, but as its guardian. Integrity is non-negotiable. I propose the immediate removal of Ethan Langston from all operational and equity positions. I urge us to strengthen security protocols and rebuild trust with our stakeholders. Ms. Patel's expression softened, but her nod was decisive. Your leadership has been exemplary, Ms. Langston. This breach is unacceptable. Other directors echoed her sentiments, voices firm with support. We vote to remove Ethan with immediate effect. Terra felt a surge of triumph tempered by regret for what the decision meant for her marriage, but she knew it was necessary. Minutes later, Terra sat alone in the boardroom with Marcel and Nina, the gravity of the morning's vote settling around them. Nina closed her tablet softly. They believe in you, she said. Marcel reached over and squeezed Terra's hand. You did it. Terra looked out the window as the sun climbed higher, bathing downtown Denver in warm light. She allowed herself a moment to breathe. She rose and walked to the balcony just outside the boardroom doors. Cool air rushed over her as the city awakened beneath the golden sunrise. She pressed her palm against the railing, feeling the solidity of metal under her fingers. Around her, the skyline glittered with possibility, the new dawn of a company restored and a leader vindicated. Memories flitted through her mind. The early days hacking code in a cramped apartment, Ethan's promise of partnership, the moment she first saw Skyple's dashboard light up with live data. She realized how much she'd grown, no longer the trusting spouse overshadowed by her husband's ambitions, but a formidable force in her own right. Her phone buzzed with a new message. She glanced at the screen, a text from a distant cousin, Ethan's aunt's granddaughter. Heard your story from the board's press release. I'm proud of you. Can't wait to catch up. A genuine note of familial support, unexpected after all the chaos. Terra's chest warmed with a quiet hope. Maybe real connection still awaited her. She typed a quick reply. Thank you. Let's talk soon. Then, closing her eyes, she lifted her face to the morning light. The wind caught her hair, and for the first time in days, she felt unburdened. She had fought for this dream, and now it was truly hers. Below, the city pulsed with life. Commuters, coffee shops opening, the hum of possibility. Terra inhaled deeply, her lungs filling with crisp air and resolute determination. She thought of Marcel and Nina, her loyal team, and every investor who believed in Skyple's integrity. She was not alone. She had forged a family of her own choosing. I fought for this dream, and now it's truly mine, she whispered. The words echoed softly against the morning sky. With a final glance at the rising sun, Terra turned and headed back inside. Her path was clear. Rebuild stronger, innovate bolder, lead with unwavering honesty. The scars of betrayal would remain, but they would no longer define her story. What would you do next? Comment below and share your thoughts.